All right, appreciate you guys coming again today. Had a good weekend. I think kids played their tails off. I couldn't be more proud of the way our guys play with effort. Like we emphasize it all the time, but our kids play hard for 4 quarters. As you guys know, they never give up. From first year to 10th year. I mean, they are gonna give you everything they've got. That's what I love about them. Wins are hard, and then wins on the road are even harder. So. My hat goes off to them, and again, I think North Carolina is a good football team that if they keep their heads up, we're going to win a lot of football games. So, some of the things that kind of stood out to me, and again, there's always the good and the bad. There's the bad obviously is what we focus on as coaches, unfortunately, but some of the good was they only had 4 explosive gains, and to me, anytime we hold someone to 4 or less explosive gains, we're 70% win. We got a 70% chance of winning. We held them to 4, and I think that's 2 weeks in a row, maybe 3 weeks in a row that we've done that. But anytime you can hold people, and again, of the 4 they got, we kind of gave it to them because we had some mental errors on the plays. It's not coming down to physical where we physically just, where they had a great play, we physically just couldn't handle it. There's some mental stuff that we got to straighten out and get right. Either take away the ability to be able to do some of the things we're doing, or get them to do it the right way. But and then offensively, we had 9. Again, our goal was to get 9 or more, and we got 9. And again, we're 70% win when we have 9 explosive plays. So those are the good things. And then I think the other thing you look at is it doesn't matter what happens on first down or second down, what happens on money down. And we emphasize that. I think it was a key to what we talked about. One of our keys to victory is winning money down. It doesn't matter what happens on first and second, but money down, you better win. And when you look at the numbers, we're way above the average. We have some pretty lofty goals. I forget offensively and defensively what they are. I want to say defensively, we want to be 70% win on third down and 3+. I think we were 70% win. And again, money down, now includes with as many 4th downs as you're seeing is third down and 4th down. So, just winning the 4th down. And again, our guys did an exceptional job. And I mentioned it post game, just the success. We won 4 out of 6 short yardage, 4th down calls. That's or at least 4th down, whether short yards or not. Most of them were. The last one wasn't, but that, to me, it's like that's what it comes down to. You better make a play on 4th down. Offensively, stay on the field, or defensively to get off the field. Again, offensively and defensively, we both won that. So, those are some of the highlights, and obviously, I'll stay away from all the negatives. But execution comes down to one of them. It's all about execution. Cal, another talented football team. We get to play. Justin Wilcox, great coach, defensive-minded head coach. Team plays with an attitude. They play with toughness. You can see that on the video. The thing that comes to mind when I look at this Cal football team, and first time getting them in here to Acrisure and to Pittsburgh is speed. I think they got a ton of speed. When I think of their speed, I think of their running backs. Their backs overall. Their running backs and their quarterbacks, are talented. Running backs is exceptional. The next kid, number 25 is, I think his nickname is Jet. He's got his nickname down. The Thomas kid is fast as well. And then I look at their defensive backs and the linebackers. So, just their skill guys are maybe as good a skill guys we've seen this year so far. So that'll be a challenge for us. They're 3rd in the country in turnover margin, and 3rd in the country. I mean, they're being opportunistic on defense. Excuse me. They're making a lot of plays on defense. I think they have 14 interceptions on the year. They're making plays. They got great ball skills on the back end as well. The linebackers got a few of those as well. But they're a really good football team that has been tested. Okay, I mean, you look at they played Auburn, Florida State, and Miami their last 3 games. So whoever did their scheduling didn't do them any favors, I guess. I mean, they had 3 really good teams in a row, and hopefully going on number 4 here with Pitt. So, questions?
Desmond Reed had 29 touches on Saturday, and truly played phenomenal. But do you guys have to do a better job at distributing the football around so that you don't wear him down as much throughout games?
Again, it's not like we're trying to get him 11 catches. I mean, it's in 2 minutes, and he gets 2 or 3 catches right there in a row. Mm-hmm. And and again, I think it comes down to just being smart with the football. I mean, you can take some shots and throw it down the field and distribute it more. But like at the end of the day, I want the ball completed. I want put it in our players' hands. Again, Daniel Carter can do the same thing. We've seen Chuck do the same thing, and obviously Rodney can do the same thing. So I think we're not worried about like who gets it. It's about like what's the smart play. It's just like we'd like to get the ball to Gavin. Gavin's probably the most unlucky tight end in the country. If you watch some of the plays where he's open, we got chances to get him the ball, and we haven't had a chance to get it to him, but he's open. And we got some nice plays called, but that's sometimes happening again in football. We'd like to get Gavin more, but like we're trying to, but like for whatever reason it just doesn't work out that way. So distribution of the ball is critical. We'd like to spread it out. I think we've had a lot of guys catch balls this year so far, but like, hey, there's a lot going on. Pass rush, blitzes, whatever it may be. You can't just predetermine. Well, I got to get him some catches, so throw it over that way. That's where you make mistakes, and I think that's the great thing about what we're doing right now is protection of the ball. We had that one awful play.
Some of those fourth downs, Matt Brown could have kicked the field goal. Is that maybe you take it out of respect for your offense? You figured we better score 6 here rather than 3?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, maybe it's respect for the offense, but again, he's going by analytics, just about like everybody else in the country is doing. Is using the analytics and saying, okay, you got a 55% chance of making the field goal here, but you got a 55% chance of converting on 4th and 1. Let's go. Let's put the game away. So, Mac Brown made good decisions. I mean, everything he made, decision-wise, again, I would have done the same thing he did. You got to go for it on 4th down. You take chances. I think early in the game we had a 4th down and we converted it. I think in the first drive, I believe, led to a field goal. So I mean, you have to take those chances when you have those opportunities. And 4th and 1, back 25 years ago, back when I was playing, nobody went for it on 4th and 1. Even in your own territory, people are going for it more and more every single year because of the odds of getting it and sophistication of offensive plays. So I think that's where you're going. And Mac Brown's a heck of a coach, and he made good decisions. I would make all the same decisions he did. I just didn't have as many opportunities to do it. I think we were 2 for 2 on 4th down, I believe. EJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but again, we made, which is but guys got to make plays too.
You've had 4 different 100-yard receivers this year and 2 different 100-yard rushers. As a defensive guy, how difficult does it make it for opposing defenses to game plan when it's not about just focusing on stopping one or 2 guys?
It's a lot harder, man. And again, to Chris's point, spreading it out. We're trying to spread it out as much as we can. We'd like to have another couple this week, as far as who you're getting the ball to. But it all depends on what they're doing. And it's not like we're just throwing the ball to that guy, and they can double cut. They can't double. They got to worry about everybody. And that's what makes it so hard with Desmond in the back here, because he's a running back, but he's also a receiver. And it's not like he's a good receiver and an average running back. The guy can make plays, when he gets the ball handed off. So it's like, what do you. Again, we call it 11 personnel that were most of the time 1 tight end and 3 wide receivers and a running back. But really, you could look at it and say it's 4 receivers in the game, but it's also got a running back in the game. He's a slash type guy that can do it all. I mean, he's a receiver and he's a running back, and he's deadly at both. I think that's what makes him so exceptional.
How did 130 FBS schools not realize that Des was a big-time college, including this one, by the way, not realize that Des was a big-time college football player?
There's a bunch of them, at the FCS level. There really is. Again, you're looking for guys that are bigger than this podium, and normally if you can't see them, and you're like, hey, where are you over there? Again, it comes down to size. There's so many good players out there. Okay, and that's why I said everybody gets all concerned about these 5-star guys. It ain't about the 5-star guys. It's about those guys that can play, and whether it's a 2-star, 3-star guy. I think it all comes down to Chris P can tell you, like it comes down to just evaluating what you like. And when we watch the tape, like he's explosive, and you can look at the size and all that. We've had little guys through the years be good players, but there's just so many players out there, and if you've got a choice between a 5'8" guy and a 6-foot guy, you're going to take the 6-foot guy, and then it just trickles down. But that's a great thing about the portal for some of those FCS teams is you go there and prove what you have. You can move up and do great things, and either way you got a chance to go to the NFL. But to be able to prove it at a higher level, he's getting that opportunity and he's following through with it.
On your final drive, I was curious. Obviously take more than 7 minutes off the clock and get points out of it successful. There was still a number of snaps, snap the ball with 31 seconds left, 27. was Eli still just kind of staying in the tempo he was comfortable with? Should he run that clock even more on some of those plays there?
Yeah, we've had conversations offense, just, running the clock out. Maybe they don't even get into a 2 minute, maybe the, game's over and we don't have to run another snap, they can use their timeouts, all those things. Again, as a head coach, I got a hard time handcuffing. I have a hard time handcuffing an offensive coordinator and saying, do this, just run the ball, run the clock out, and be conservative. I mean, you guys would all sit in here and probably whine and complain. I don't want to be that guy. I was in a game one time, we got beat 12-10. I tell the staff this story. We got beat 12-10 against Michigan in the Big House, and we're up 10-12 to 10. I think we got beat 12-10. They kicked 4 field goals, but we're up 10-9, and our offense got the ball. In a coming out situation, probably inside the 10. They ran 3 straight plays right up the middle. When there's guys that are playing 10 yards off, we could have thrown just a quick route out there. Just get a first down. Just get 1 first down, game's over. We go 3 and out, we punt the ball. Michigan doesn't get a first down, and they kick a field goal to win the game 12 to, So it's that, being conservative. What got you where you are is the way I look at it. And the thing, so I don't care if they run or pass it. I want to continue to be aggressive. If you look at the videotape, they're all in the box. Okay, and Coach Bell is like, Coach, we're gonna score a touchdown here. I'm like, that's great, I like guys that want to score touchdowns. Like, go ahead. I'm not gonna say, hey, run up the middle for a 1 yard loss. What's better, scoring touchdowns? So, the thing that we have to do a better job at in that situation, whether you run it or pass it or clock, number one is we got to make sure we kick a field goal. We got a great field goal kicker. If we didn't have a great field goal kicker, I would say let's get in the end zone. I don't trust that guy. I don't really want to kick a field goal in this situation, but let's take our shots. And if we did a better job of protecting and, maybe, we got Gavin, wide open in the end zone, but we didn't protect the quarterback because we didn't block the wrong guy, okay? So there's those situations. So we can score, we're at 14 and they need 2 touchdowns. But, the emphasis is not on what we did run pass. It's about executing at the end of the game the right way, whether it's blocking the guy and then the quarterback being smart with the football at the end of the game of knowing that, hey, we got a field goal ready. Do not throw the ball where even anybody in North Carolina has a chance to touch the ball. That's what we don't want to happen. And if in doubt, throw it out of the end zone and we're okay, okay? But we got to be smarter there, and that's, rookie mistakes there. And, I told Coach Bell, just like, and we in the last 2 plays, we get our quarterback hit, and I don't want him hit either. So those are the things that I was disappointed in the last series. But as far as play calling, I want to go get him, and I want to be aggressive, and I don't want to handcuff a coordinator where he's stuck running the ball up there, and everybody's going, what are we doing here?
How have you liked Eli's balanced decision making? I mean, you guys are undefeated, and he's literally not just average. He's scored 3 touchdowns a game, thrown 3 touchdowns a game every contest that you guys have had. But talking about avoiding mistakes like that, distribution of the football. How do you feel he's done, and what do you feel like is his next step to improve?
I think it's he's done a remarkable job as a redshirt freshman playing his first season. He's done an unbelievable job. But those are some of the things that we still have to work on understanding the situation, and that, hey, it's like I told Coach Bates, I said, in our staff room, I'd say, Coach Bates, you feel better with a 10-point lead going into 2 minute or a 7-point lead? And it's like, as a defensive coordinator, you want that 10 points. It's like, oh, if they score, we're okay. Everybody's a little bit looser on defense and lets us go, as opposed to playing tight, like we can't give them anything. Hey, they can get a couple yards. Now they got to score twice. They ain't scoring twice in a minute 33 or whatever was on the clock. So,
Pat, on EJ's game notes, there's a number next to your team's name for the first time in a while. Is that something that comes up in meetings, or do you tell them to ignore it, like you tell them to ignore it when maybe the expectations?
we ignored it well. I mean, just like, didn't talk about it last night at all. But Tuesday, just talk about, like, hey, refocus. Doesn't matter what we've done in the past. I mean, that's just the name of the game. That's what I've done forever. And like, I don't care the ranking. I don't care the preseason ranking. The only one that ranking we'll brag about is whatever our postseason ranking is, okay? And trying to win a championship. So those are the rankings that you worry about. Right now, midseason, if you get too caught up in, oh, look at us, we're ranked, good luck to you.
That being said, what do you like about your team? 5 games in, what have you learned about them that maybe you didn't know on August 31st?
Resiliency, I guess. I mean, toughness, like just the whole, the character thing. And the other thing I talked about, I always talk a lot about those 4, words up there: attitude, effort, toughness, and knowledge. But like their attitude, I love their attitude. There's not a selfish, bone on our football team. At least they haven't shown it yet. I mean, I like their attitude. I like their, their selflessness that they've shown. It doesn't matter who catches the ball, who has the big game as a receiver, who makes the sack. They're celebrating together. There's no whining afterwards. Well, I didn't get my chance. You're celebrating in the locker room. You got someone sitting in the locker over there. I've seen that before. There's someone sitting in the locker room all by himself, kind of like, I didn't get to play. I didn't get to make a play. I didn't, whatever it is. I don't see that. And so that's what I've learned. That, this team is selfless. They're worried about, the we and not the me, what's good for me, which we continue to preach. And, and it's just, you just enjoy coaching this football team.
And are those the reasons why teams make plays at the end of games and some teams don't? Like you guys you've had comebacks, you've made plays when you needed to on the road, at home. Is that is it more to it than that, or are those the things that make allow teams to make those plays?
Yeah, I think that could be the point, because at the end of the game, you don't know who's going to make it. I mean, we ain't sacked the quarterback all day, and then Kyle Lewis comes up and gets a sack. It's like, it's about time we got one. And it's not all about sacks, but it's like you get them when you need to, but I think that's it could happen anywhere. It's not like you're running a route knowing that he's never going to throw me the ball. I'm going to go run this post route or this fade route, and he ain't going to throw it to me. Well, everybody's got a chance. Just run it and see what happens. So I think that's what it comes down to. Dejon Reynolds, for example, that deep ball he caught, that 40-yard touchdown. It's his first catch of the year, but he didn't run that route like he wasn't going to get the ball. He wasn't necessarily the primary target on that one, but he became the primary target. Covered by 3 guys and catch the ball. So I think, just that selflessness and him running that route like, I'm going to get the ball thrown to me every time, and blocking his tail off. I mean, look at some of the effort, and I'm pointing out, Dejon, he had a couple blocks out there. He's just like pummeling people, putting them in the ground, pancake blocks for receivers. Those are some big blocks. Gavin Bartholomew, regardless of what he has 11 yards receiving, but on one of Eli's runs down their sideline, he takes a guy and he's blocking him for 10 seconds and drills him to the ground. Like, you talk about effort, he ain't worried about his catches. He's worried about winning and doing his job and just playing with an attitude and some, great effort. You saw that, Chris, huh? You liked that block, huh?
I did. It was,
I
actually noted it on Twitter the game. Pat, you guys added Sean Fitzsimmons as a starter on the depth chart. What did you like about him? And with 6 starting defensive tackles, you guys going to run a 6-3-2 on Saturday?
We're going to run 60 tackles. It's like it's by committee, and I hope we don't put 60 tackles out there. It would not be good. Linebackers would not be happy. But it's like every week we're going to start the guys that have the best week of practice, and Fitzy had the best week of practice. I mean, Francis Brew did some great things as well. Like, he only had 9 plays. It's like, God, maybe we should have got him more. And you sit there as a coach, you're trying to get as many in there as you can and see what they've got. But there's some Ghost is he's a screen killer. I think the first screen they ran, which screen was a major emphasis last week. He turns and goes, like, he sniffs it, he feels it, and makes a great tackle on a screen that's out there in the flat. So we're just going to utilize him as we go. But Sean Fitzsimmons, first game back, he's usually a slow guy getting back off an injury, but man, we didn't know what we get out of him. We wanted to limit his plays. I think he had 40+ snaps, and we were thinking about limiting it going in just to not overdo it, but it was hard not to put him on the field. But we saw a lot of good stuff out of those guys up there when we were going the right way. And there was times we were going the wrong way, and it wasn't necessarily their fault. I blame coaches for it, number one, and then our players, communication issues. But Sean did a nice job, and so were those other guys.
Are you concerned about the lack of sacks?
No, not really. It's a great question. Last week, doing self-scout, you love that self-scout stuff. I want to say 2/3, at least 40% of our third down. I mean, when are you going to get sacks? When they're definitely throwing the ball, right? Third down, we're seeing a tremendous amount of screens, more than I've ever seen in my life. People just throwing screens. Well, quarterbacks fade back, just throwing it out there. Like, people are getting the ball out of their hands because they don't want to give up sacks. So we can all get worried about sacks. Last week the emphasis was not getting sacks. It was to kill the screens, make sure we took their screens away because their screens were so good and deadly. And we knew going into this game, we're like, shoot, if on third down we're seeing that many screens coming into the game, and now we're facing the best screen team we've faced, we're going to see even more. That's why it was so important when Ghost got that that first screen. It was like, ooh, we got him. I mean, we sniffed out screens. Jimmy Scott takes care of a screen. He rushes up the field, feels it, he covers the tight end screen, and then they throw it to a receiver down the field on the screen, and there's linemen down the field. You can't really throw it downfield when there's screens and the linemen are running downfield. It's like, you can't do. I've never seen that done before ever. But it's because we sniffed out the screen and they threw it down the field. You can't. It's one of those plays. It's like, how do you stop that one? You can't. So I'm not concerned about the sacks. If you looked at drop back pass per sack, that's what I would worry about, but I haven't looked at that stats. It's getting a win and stopping them and finding a way to get it done.
Even you got the luck.
I do love sacks. I like,
figured-
but you know what?
figured you
More
did.
important than the sacks probably is the amount of hits you're gonna get on a quarterback. So if you count quarterbacks, we've hit some quarterbacks.
You got
but-
enough of those on
I mean,
Saturday?
I like touchdowns. I like strip sack touchdowns. And the one we got, we're an inch away from having another sack, a strip sack, and the Kai Johnson's running, to the end zones for a touchdown. So, I mean, we're hitting the quarterback, and that's probably, if the quarterback's sitting back there in a clean pocket, not good, so.
On the flip side, no sacks allowed. What did the offensive line show you? Did they improve?
They held a couple times, so that helps, okay? The first holding call was just okay, but the other ones, Bears saved the quarterback one time, which, is a good thing. So I think 2 of the 3 were good calls and warranted in a big way. But, hey, protect the quarterback at all costs. And, our offensive line did that. Again, but he got hit. I don't want him getting hit either. That's the thing. Okay, we didn't give him any sacks, but, as I mentioned, to Chris earlier, those, last 2 plays of the game, he's in there. He got hit both times. Like, we don't want that to happen.
Chris, go ahead and wrap us up.
Jaden Ott has been a threat. I know you talked about this offense and what it can do. What do you guys have to do better this week to look at specifically what he brings to this?
Well, we faced a great tailback, a bigger, fast tailback last week, and that guy got the edge. Again, facing another one this week. Ott's a good football player. Didn't start off. Had a little nagging injury, whatever it was. I don't, I'm not their trainer, but has come back and he's talented. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He kind of reminds you a little bit of a Des Reed. He's got the ability to do it all. And if you give him a lane, he can take it to the house at any time. And so can the Thomas kid, the Jet kid there.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right.